There is a weird conspiracy theory based around Kendrick Lamar's halftime show. Now, they're saying the halftime show was clearly a message that was missed by a lot of people, almost everybody. Some were saying that this is a message to how America is today, and some are saying it's clearly directed towards Trump.
I'm back, your boy FITTIE to the E, and today we're going to be taking a look at these creepy TikTok videos. If you guys like the video, let's try to get to 2,000 likes this video. If we can get to 2,000, that'd be amazing, because we've been hitting 1K super consistently, so why not up the challenge? My last video, these are the guys that got the riddle right. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people got that shit right. Like, I'm surprised, because I'm just like, yo, thought at least a couple people would fail, but like majority got it right. Some people said incorrect. I would consider that also correct. So if your name is here, you know what I'm saying, it was a bunch of people. Literally the second I dropped the video, it's just like hundreds wrong. I'm like, bro, how do y'all even how do you even figure that shit out that quick? But the new riddle of the day is, what can you catch but not throw? If you guys think you know, put it down in the comments. That's just like what I did for this video today. I'm gonna put y'all right here, so if you get it right, you'll get another video shout out. First come, first serve. Remember to subscribe, and as you guys know, these videos get crazy, so watch at your own risk.
Scariest conspiracy theories in the world that will seriously change your life. So this right here shows all the conspiracy theories, from the most well-known ones that we all know to the darkest of the dark. This series we're going to be going from the most well-known ones to the darkest of the dark, which will probably keep you up all night. Having to do the research into all of these is probably going to disturb the hell out of me, but you know, I'm doing it for you guys, so make sure you hit that follow button. Part 1, let's go. Today we're going to be talking about Area 51, but not how you think. Trust me, this is wild. This guy right here is Bob Lazar. Now, he used to work at Area 51. Now, Area 51 is, of course, one of the biggest conspiracy theories out there. What is it? Why can't we go near there? Is it just a military base? Bob claims he used to work there, reverse engineering alien craft. Now, this right here is his actual drawing of an alien craft. Yeah, crazy, right? This is where it gets mental. Absolutely mental. You think Area 51 is this place, right? According to Bob, this is not where all the crazy stuff happened. It's actually down the road here, in a place called Area S4. Area S4 is located up in the mountains, completely top secret, and nobody knows really what it is until Bob came out about it. Bob claims he would be taken to Area S4, which is an underground facility where he would work on the alien craft. Put the coordinates into Google and look at this place, it's just crazy. The road which leads straight up to it, the road ends right there, and then there's just like holes in the ground. So there is definitely something there. What I'm saying is all from Bob. There is literally a documentary about this. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix, you may have seen it. Yeah. Let me know what you think, because this is crazy. The series is about to get a whole lot crazier, so make sure you hit that follow button. I'll see you in the next one.
Bob Lazar's story has always been interesting to me, because it's like, this dude used to work at one of the most classified areas in the world, and somehow he can just come out to the public like, yeah, we've been working on aliens. They actually have alien spacecraft. They actually don't operate over here. They operate over here. How can you do that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like when you quit, you can't just come out and just be like, listen, this is what they're doing, without like actually having to hide. Because look at Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden was a guy that worked for the NSA, and he told us that they could just tap into any of our devices and stalk us, see what we're doing, see what we're searching up, and we have no privacy online. And he had to move to Russia. So you tell me Bob Lazar is still in America talking about, yeah, we did all this with aliens, and then no one's coming after him? To me, that's weird. I don't know. Let me know y'all thoughts about that.
Here are some crazy things happening in the world right now. ChatGPT found the diagnosis for a young boy after 17 doctors over 3 years could not figure out what was causing his chronic pain. A blind man is raising concerns about Indiana gun laws after he was allowed to get a license to carry. Google has just dropped its guidelines that promise not to use AI for weapons. Everything I say leaks was a quote by Mark Zuckerberg in a leaked meeting audio. People were driving over Lake Winnebago in Wisconsin to save them hours on their drives. Beavers built a dam in 2 days that the Czech Republic government was planning to build for 7 years, saving them over $1 million. The skeleton panda sea squirt is a new ocean species that was discovered near Japan, named after its resemblance of a panda face. Joe Biden has signed with a Hollywood talent agency. The doomsday clock was just set to 89 seconds from midnight for the first time ever.
You tell me people drove over ice just to get to somewhere quicker? What if they just fell in? Would you do that?
Unusual deaths in human history. The body of a 39-year-old man was discovered hanging upside down inside the leg of a papier-mâché stegosaurus. He crawled inside head first, trying to retrieve his phone, but got trapped, causing him to experience a slow, painful death. In 2019, a Sri Lankan man was trampled to death by a wild elephant after jumping out of his car and attempting to hypnotize it. In 2016, a 10-year-old boy named Caleb Schwab was decapitated when he was ejected from his ride on Verrucht, a 168-foot tall water slide at Schlitterbahn Water Park. In late 2019, a family in Iowa was trying to make a viral gender reveal to announce the sex of their baby. The family proceeded to fill a steel umbrella stand with gunpowder, inadvertently making a pipe bomb, causing 56-year-old Pamela Kreimeier to be hit in the head with shrapnel, killing her instantly. In 2014, a 23-year-old Indian soccer player named Peter Biak Singh Zula scored a goal and did a somersault to celebrate. However, he landed awkwardly on his neck and died due to spinal cord injuries.
Here's why breaking out of prison in Germany is legal. Unlike many countries where escaping prison will give you a longer sentence, in Germany, you're actually allowed. Now you're probably wondering why. Well, the philosophy of the law says it's human nature to want to escape. So any prisoners who try to escape court, like this one, won't face any extra charges.
You're not real. You're not real. You're only made of moonlight.
You're so much smaller than I remember.
If you haven't seen this photo on the internet as of late, this is just moments before 12-year-old Emma Brown took her gun and used it on her father and then herself. Last September, Emma and another 12-year-old friend devised a plan to murder Emma's family and her pets and then run away to Georgia together. Shortly after this photo, she then proceeds to shoot her father in the stomach and then run toward her driveway to take her family car to meet with her friend about 230 miles away. It's believed in this moment that Emma might have panicked and then shot herself in the process. The thing that's raised a concern is, as of right now, Emma's friend, who hasn't been publicly identified, is believed to have planned the entire ordeal. One of the biggest discussions as of late is that Emma's family had no idea how her and her friend had actually met, but she has been arrested and charged with a conspiracy to commit murder. The father did end up surviving the incident, but now conversations are being struck throughout the entire internet about whether or not parents know who their children's friends are. The police have also raised concerns and reports blaming social media for this occurrence. So the question now is, was this a preventable incident?
Terrifying moments of humans in a state of pure shock. A horrific incident occurred on the 30th of July 2008 on a Greyhound bus. 22-year-old Tim McLean was unalived by a mentally insane man who then consumed parts of his body. This all happened on the bus with everyone witnessing this horrific moment. This is our reaction from one of the passengers on the bus at the time.
I was just reading a book. All of a sudden I heard a guy screaming. I turned around and the guy sitting right next beside me was standing up and stabbing another guy with a Rambo knife. And when he came and he brought the head and he looked at us and dropped the head, it was just like he was having a day at the beach.
How are you feeling now?
A little tired. I'm in shock still, I guess.
At the time of the interview, this man was experiencing pure shock.
Dude, that's no joke. Like, being on a bus and then seeing someone get decapitated in front of you. Like, obviously, I'll be there just like... First of all, I'll be like, what if he does it to me? Like, I'm like, yo, I don't even want to be on this bus. Second of all, you got to be thinking about the guy that's actually getting the act done to him. He's probably screaming like crazy. Like, that shit's probably horrifying. What would you do in a situation like that? Like, what could you even do? Do you tell the dude to stop driving and just dip off the bus? Like, what?
Did you know that Yellow Jackets is inspired by two true stories? The first one is the Donner Party. In April 1876, a group of about 87 people set out on a journey from Illinois to California. Instead of the Oregon Trail, they decided to use a shorter, untested route. By the time they were crossing the Sierra Nevada mountain range, they were low on food and supplies. And between the rough terrain and the accumulating snow, they were stranded by October. A diary kept by Patrick Breen detailed the weeks to come. As members of their party succumbed to the cold, illness, or starvation, they ended up resorting to cannibalism. When a search party arrived to help them in the spring of 1877, they found that over half the Donner Party had died, and as many as 21 had been eaten. After their rescue, the Donner Party survivors became famous, then infamous. And while some denied the cannibalism stories, at least 8 survivors admitted to eating human flesh. Let me know if you guys want to hear the other story that inspired the show.
So Annabelle is actually based on a true story.
Isn't it that Raggedy Ann looking one? I feel like I've seen pictures of like a side by side with the two dolls.
So Donna and Angie are mother and daughter. Donna got her daughter Angie a doll. Shortly after like she got her the doll, they started noticing like really weird stuff with the doll, right? So the doll would like move a little bit. Not like as they're looking at it, oh, the leg is in a new position or the arm is in a new position, and they were always just like, oh, that's just gravity. Then the doll started like moving locations throughout the house, right? And then they started finding like handwritten notes on this really old like parchment paper that nobody in the house had. It's from like forever ago. One night the doll is found with blood pouring out of her hand. Look, this is crazy. You can't make this up. Pouring out of her hands and chest, right? Something's not adding up. So they did the first thing they thought to do was, we're gonna call a medium. So when the medium came, it was like what she told them like terrified them, and it's honestly sending chills like down my spine as I'm about to tell you it. The median said,
"This daycare worker is why many Americans choose to not send their kids to daycare. Hi, my name is Ethan, and trigger warning, this is a dark case. In June of 2018, a 1-year-old in Jessica Cherry's care allegedly fell from a chair, hit her head, and suffered extensive bruising and skull fracture. Fast forward 2 years later, another 2-year-old was found deceased in Jessica's playpen in her home. Jessica immediately called 911, and the 2-year-old was transported to Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters and was pronounced deceased. The pathologist who performed the autopsy on the 2-year-old later declared that she was potentially smothered, and that is how she passed away. They also saw that the child had blunt force injuries as well. Jessica was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter in August of 2022, and on March 17th of this year, she was sentenced to 10 years in prison.
Vanished 3 times, and she's seemingly now gone missing for good. It was midday on the 16th of December 2008 in southern Manhattan, New York. Some men were working on a ferry deck when they noticed something extremely strange in the water. There was what looked like a woman in the water floating face down. They immediately sprang into action and rescued her from the water. She gasped for air, and they were stunned that she was still alive. Her name was Hannah Up. She was a 23-year-old Spanish teacher who'd gone missing 3 weeks prior. They rushed her to hospital where she needed urgent treatment for hypothermia and severe sunburn. She told staff that the last thing she remembered was going out for a run. She was diagnosed with a condition called dissociative fugue. It's defined as a psychological state where a person loses awareness of their identity and engages in some form of unexpected travel. Hannah was obviously frightened by the incident but tried to carry on her life as normal. 5 years later, though, she would suffer the same fate. It was September 2013. She worked as a teaching assistant at that point in Maryland when her phone and purse were found abandoned on a path. Her mum reported her missing, and she remained missing for 2 days when she suddenly remembered who she was while she was in a creek. She went up to a member of the public and asked them if she could use their phone to call her mum. Then the following year she moved to St. Thomas in the Caribbean. On the 14th of September, she left a note stating that she was off for a swim before going to work, but she never turned up at work. She never called anyone to let them know what she was doing or if her plans had changed, and her clothing and belongings were found just abandoned on a beach. It's now 7 years since she last vanished, but her family refuses to give up hope. So what do you think? Where has she ended up? Is she still alive? Let me know in the comments.
Kids who are geniuses, part 1. Firstly, meet Akrit Jaswal, and by the age of 7, he became the youngest surgeon in the world when he performed a live surgery on a 6-year-old patient successfully. Akrit was also accepted into medical school at the age of 11 and has an IQ of 146. Next, when Kim Mong-young was 3 years old, he was able to solve algebra problems, and at the age of 4, he was fluent in 4 different languages. But that's not it, because at the age of 8, he was invited to work for NASA, and at 16 years old, he left NASA, and it said he has an IQ of 210. Finally, these paintings that you see are not done by an adult, but a child. His name is Edmund Thomas Clint, and he created 25,000 paintings in his lifetime until he unfortunately passed away at the young age of just 7 years old. But his artwork will live forever.
I want to talk about one of the worst videos I've seen on the internet, which is of this woman, Amy, going through the McCamey Manor haunted house. Because while the video is bad, there's one specific part that I think people really need to know about. So some background for people that aren't familiar. McCamey Manor is a haunted house run by Russ McCamey, and it's essentially just a torture chamber. People who go to this haunted house have teeth ripped out without Novocaine, they get buried alive, they even have to eat their own throw up. It's horrible. And recently, the owner, Russ, was just arrested for attempting to kill a woman twice, which I covered in the most recent episode of my podcast, Heart Starts Pounding. But while I was doing research for that episode, I came upon this video of Amy going through the experience. And the whole thing was recorded and put up on the internet, except for one part, and that's the part I want to talk about. During the experience, Amy's told that two brothers are going to come rough her up, but then the screen goes black and it just says, "I cannot show you what takes place," referring to what happened to Amy when the brothers showed up. And the next time we see Amy, she's sitting in this freezer and her spirit looks completely broken, like something bad just happened, but we weren't able to see what occurred. Amy later did an interview saying that when the brothers showed up, she was actually tortured really badly and used the safe word, but was not allowed to end the experience. And that to me is the worst part of McCamey Manor, because even though McCamey Manor is just torture, they say that there's a safe word you can use to end the experience. But as I was doing research for this episode, I kept coming across stories of people who said they used the safe word and were not allowed to stop. They had to keep going. I get more into it in this episode, which I think is worth listening to if you're curious about McCamey Manor and what actually happens there. But yeah, I would say if you're interested in going to this place, you absolutely shouldn't, especially if you're a woman.
A 23-year-old Florida woman was posing as a 14-year-old girl to meet up with little boys. This is 23-year-old Alyssa Ann Zinger. She was first arrested in November for at least 30 acts with a middle school boy, and then sending explicit Snapchats to many more middle schoolers. Her persona was a 14-year-old homeschooled girl. She communicated with all of her victims through Snapchat. She got hit with a ton of charges, mainly CP charges, and that's on top of assault charges. Interestingly enough, her and the victim that she was with got caught shoplifting at Nordstrom in July. She lied to the police about her identity. She was born in 2001. She said she was born in 2009 to them, but they had been investigating her for over a year now. They found out she had been lying after reviewing her school and employment records and contacted her employer at Publix in Tampa. Then, 3 months later after that, a victim came forward about Alyssa Zinger's crimes. If convicted, she faces 146 years, so basically life in prison. And I believe she has 7 different charges against her with 12 counts. If you're from Tampa, let me know if you heard about this. I'm from Tampa. I'm just hearing about this. I believe she was arrested last week, so makes sense. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, these videos are for informational purposes only.
I mean, I was out in Tampa like last week, so...
Now this video has got the internet going crazy because a guy in Melbourne, Australia is quite literally claiming that his dog was playing with a ghost. And after watching this, I bloody believe him. Now he insists that his backyard is fully secured and locked by a high fence where there is no way for another dog to get in. He also said that he ran outside to check if he hadn't lost the plot and the ghost dog was nowhere to be seen. And if this video hasn't got you contemplating life, another video which has scarred me for life is this bastard. Now keep your eyes on the collar of the black dog on the right. So as you can see, the two dogs are just barking and barking, and then suddenly out of nowhere, for some reason, they just go completely quiet. A few seconds later, the black dog then randomly jerks backwards into the side of the crate and its collar comes off of its own accord.
This woman was caught on camera doing something deeply disturbing to win a chess match. Earlier this year, Russian pro chess player Amina Abakarova apparently needed a way to knock her opponent out of a tournament. So she decided to go to the extreme and poison the woman, 30-year-old Ume Osmanova, in what's being treated as an assassination attempt. Amina poured mercury from a thermometer onto the victim's chessboard before her next match and smeared it all over her side of the board with one of the pieces. Osmanova said she began feeling unwell during her match 30 minutes later, complaining of sudden severe nausea and dizziness, prompting an immediate call for medical assistance. After the security footage was reviewed by authorities, Amina had no choice but to confess to the murder attempt. Osmanova ended up making a full recovery, as the attacker was banned from future chess competitions and stripped of her previous titles. Abakarova now potentially faces several years in Russian prison for the senseless attack.
I can promise you chess is never that serious. Maybe it is. I don't know. But I don't think it's that serious where you gotta take someone out like that. Mostly if there's not like a money reward or like any sort of reward. I mean, even if there is a reward, you shouldn't do it. But like, if there isn't a reward, then you're just bugging. Like you're a psychopath.
This is a true horrifying story of a haunted house
in Jumeirah 1. This story was submitted by a family, a mom, a dad, and 3 daughters. The story happened in 2016. Jumeirah 1 is an old area in Dubai. Many houses there are old, though they are very expensive, since they're just a 5-minute walk from the beach. This family moved in a new house with a 1-year lease contract. After organizing furniture, they moved in and the 3 daughters picked the rooms they wanted. On the 3rd night, the youngest daughter, aged 10, came to her sisters crying, saying she doesn't want to sleep in her room anymore. When they asked her why, she didn't want to speak. She then slept with them in another room that night. On the 4th night, she comes back at 1 a.m. crying again, but this time she seemed petrified. She was shivering, begging not to sleep in her bedroom. One of the sisters gets up and walks towards her room. She bends over to get a peek, while the 2 other sisters were staring at her from behind. This sister got paralyzed from waist up. She wanted to scream for help, but she was not able to move a muscle. And her sisters behind her didn't know that she was struggling. She was frozen in her spot. She fell down a few seconds later and she runs to wake up her parents. She was shouting intensely, explaining what just happened. The father gets up and gently goes inside that bedroom as if someone in there was calling him. He goes in and shockingly closes the door behind him. It was a terrifying moment of silence as the whole family waited for the father outside that door. A minute felt like an hour. He comes out with an agitated face and says, "All of you should leave this house now." The mother knew exactly what her husband was going through. She acted normal. She took her daughters and left the house. Never try fixing a situation like this if you're angry. This is the latest update. The father is fine. The daughters are okay. The whole family is safe and happy in a new home. But just to show you how haunted this house is, in 2018, the landlord decided to demolish and rebuild this house. They were 2 weeks behind schedule because 13 deconstructing equipment were damaged during the process.
There is a weird conspiracy theory based around Kendrick Lamar's halftime show. Now, they're saying the halftime show was clearly a message that was missed by a lot of people, almost everybody. Some were saying that this is a message to how America is today, and some are saying it's clearly directed towards Trump so he could see it. They had game over in the lights, if you can see it. You can see the colors of the dancers on stage is representing an American flag, which is divided. The lights also say warning, wrong way. What? The stage was set up as a PS4 controller, which is a game. And then you had Uncle Sam there. The message looks pretty deep and unapologetic by Kendrick, as even during the halftime show we had Trump staring down Kendrick Lamar. I can't believe I completely missed maybe the message behind it. Comment your guys' thoughts down below.
Honestly, I mean, I watched the Super Bowl halftime performance. I didn't look into it too crazy like this dude. And the performance itself wasn't too crazy. Like, it wasn't like no Rihanna or Michael Jackson or Beyonce or nothing like that. But knowing Kendrick, he likes to put meanings in all his things. Like, everything Kendrick does is just meaning. Songs, lyric, meaning, double on time. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's a very, different type of artist with a lot of, hidden Easter eggs, which is pretty cool. But some of them, I'm not gonna lie, some of them be taking too much brain power, bro. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and just be like, hold on, let me just analyze this whole thing, see what he really means. Like, we don't got time for that, gang. Let's be real. Me, you, we working, bro. We gotta work. Like, people don't have time to sit there and just analyze until you see a guy like this on TikTok that just does it for you, and you're like, oh, wow. But yeah, apparently it was a whole meaning for the U.S. and division, and in my opinion, I just heard Drake. It was just straight Drake. On first glance, it just seemed like a diss track on Drake because his Not Like Us song was a diss track on Drake. So then once he got the stage to perform it at one of the biggest stages in the world, he just dissed Drake.
Sick Drake.
I hit you like I'm young.
But yeah, thank God the Eagles won. You know what I'm saying? I was getting tired of KC, the Chiefs, winning. So, yeah. If anyone bet on the Eagles during that Super Bowl, y'all, I know you guys made some money. I didn't bet on anything because, like, yeah.
Thank you all for watching this here video.